So people who are trying in all means to make sure that the legacy of Sir Philip Effiong is swept under the carpet in aspect of trying to Igbo'nize the Biafra struggle to be an Igbo struggle, whereas it was the consultant of the person of General Chukwuemeka Odumegwu and the person of General Philip Effiong. It was under their leadership. Sir, please, I would like you to address the entire world on that, because the legacy of Sir Philip Effiong will never and can never be swept under the carpet. All hail Biafra.
Okay, thank you for your question. First of all, as a matter of fact, just to make a point about my father's personal life, he was actually from a humble family, and at some point had to drop out of school and registered as a GCE candidate from home, and actually bought books, bought the syllabus, and took that exam from home. And that is what qualified him, after he passed that exam, to go into the officer corps. Before then, he actually rose from the ranks. He went into the army as a private. But yes, you're right that at some point, on gaining his GCE, he would have the opportunity to go abroad and get his military training and good education in places like Germany and the United Kingdom and other places. Having said that, it is anybody. First of all, let people look at the makeup of what we have here today. People look at those who are interviewing me today. How many of them are Igbos? Am I Igbo? That is a fallacy. That whole thing that this was an Igbo, whatever. Unfortunately, some of our people are buying into it and are actually turning against Igbos for that reason. If you look at people that were killed during the second coup, Major Ekanem, Major Isong. There's another name. There's someone. There was Major Rock. There was. I'm trying to remember the name of someone from what is today the present Rivers State, and many others that people don't want to focus on because they want to make it seem as if it was just Igbos. Or what about the governor of the Western region? I'm trying to remember his name. The man that was, and if someone remembers his name, let me know. He was with Ironsi when Ironsi was abducted. The name will come back. Fajuyi, that's his name. Yeah, Colonel Fajuyi. That's a Yoruba man that was killed. So the attacks, you can say in many ways they were primarily against Igbos, but they were not against Igbos because Igbos are Igbos. They were against Igbos because what they thought Igbos represented. These are the people that will challenge and prevent our complete domination and ownership of power. That's how they saw the Igbos, as people who wanted to control everything and take over power. And so anyone they felt was playing that role of trying to prevent them from gaining full power, they went after those people. That's why Fajuyi was killed. That's why there were attempts on my father's life. And my father had to flee from Kaduna in disguise and go to Lagos and eventually escape from Lagos to the east. Is he an Igbo man? No, my father could hardly make a sentence in Igbo. You look at the structure, the leadership of Biafra, the secretary to the government, Enu Akpan and Ibibio man as well. You look at people who play diplomatic roles like Mr. Kobara. I think he's an Ogoni man. Or think about the person who even came up with the name Biafra, Chief Opigo. Or think about one of the major propagandists in Biafra, Okokondem. Think about one of the greatest respected field commanders, Colonel Achibon. How many of these people are Igbos? So it is ridiculous. And that's how the Eastern government was on several levels. I agree, with people who say, well, the Igbos occupied, many key positions. That's true, but not only the Igbos. There were many others, some of whom I've mentioned, and the people I've mentioned were already in the Eastern government. There's the late Ekogin Ambasi, a lawyer. He was also quite significant in the Eastern region, played a number of diplomatic roles before the war. And in the war, I think he headed the Anang province and was also a militia officer. And a lot of these people were together in that body that came and demanded that it is time for us to break away. We're not wanted in this country. We need reassurance. We need safety. We're not getting it. And so we can't continue to exist in fear. We can't continue to exist in a situation where our lives are constantly destroyed. You know, I was a little boy in Enugu before the war. And that's where some of the earliest battles took place. And I remember people marching on the streets and they were singing, you know, we are Biafrans fighting for survival in the name of Jesus. We shall conquer. And I remember those people. Sometimes we'll just march beside them. A lot of them were from a range of backgrounds. You could see traders there. You could see landlords. You could see teachers. So this nonsense about this thing being about the Igbos and the Igbo elite is crap. It's absolute crap, and it's one of those distortions that people use not just to denigrate Biafra, but to divide us as well. It's not working for me, and it never will. I hope I answered the question.